Okay, so this might be a little overdramatic, but here we go. Zeb Wells has ruined Spider-Man forever. So originally I was going to make a video about the positives about Zeb Wells' run, just to challenge myself. If you still want to see that video, I'll totally make it, just let me know. But it dawned on me while working on that video that Zeb Wells has ruined Spider-Man forever. Or at least for the next generation of Spider-Man fans. What do I mean by that? Well, picture your childhood. Picture all the movies you watched as a kid that you loved and then grew up to find out the movies you loved are actually hated by a lot of people, and that sudden urge to defend it because you were able to see it as a child where most things you watched were good. You didn't think about how it ruins the character, you just think that's the character. We see it all the time in the Spider-Man community. People who grew up with a movie or a show that is generally a bad piece of Spider-Man media at the time, we see them grow up and start to defend those movies or shows. We see it with The Amazing Spider-Man 2, we're starting to see it with Ultimate Spider-Man the cartoon, and I'm willing to bet all my money that all the kids who grew up with Marvel Spider-Man show will grow up to defend it, and the public discussion on that show will shift just like it did for those two other examples. So how does this relate to Zeb Wells? Well, think about it. Think about the kid who just went into his first comic store and he picks up the issue where Peter, 25-year-old Peter to be in fact, is begging Norman Osborn, the man who killed his girlfriend in the past, to save his life against the Vulture, a guy he's fought millions of times. For this kid that may have just grown a love for Spider-Man and went into a comic store to find out more about Spider-Man, has now been exposed to one of the worst runs in the character's history, and guess what? That's going to become Spider-Man to them. This Peter Parker that Zeb Wells has created, that's what Spider-Man will be in their mind. And unless the next writer to take over from Zeb Wells rectifies this and takes us back to basics, Zeb Wells has effectively changed Spider-Man for the worse. And I think even with a new writer, it's going to take a lot to bring us back from this low point. I think what we need now from Marvel Comics is a reset of the character. Spider-Man has had horrible runs in the past, but none of them changed the very core of what Spider-Man is. Say what you want about One More Day, the story we got after was very Spider-Man. And say what you want about Dan Slott, at the core, he understood Peter Parker and was willing to have him find himself again and grow up and progress. But Zeb Wells has slaughtered the character at his core. And the worst part about it is, I don't even think he cares. And the effects of this will last longer than we think. Honestly, I would kill for Marvel Comics to start a new universe away from the 616, where we could watch Spider-Man grow up in a continuous storyline with only one head writer, sort of like Ultimate Spider-Man, but actually have him grow up this time. This character that we all love is completely unrecognizable now, and I think it'll take a lot to bring us back to where we were. And I think give it a few years and this Spider-Man will be the foundation of whatever character is left, because he has changed so much of what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man that it's going to take a lot of retconning and honestly decanonizing this run in order for us to go back to being the Spider-Man we know and love. And the worst part about it is, like I said, people will grow up to love this run because that's what they grew up with. And the public discussion on this run will shift in its favor in the future. It's happened before, it might happen again, and I hope to God it doesn't happen again, because this is not Spider-Man. Or maybe I'm just being pessimistic, who knows anymore. Zeb Wells' run sucks, yet for some reason I'm still using it as the base for my Spider-Man series finale. So yeah.